Who would have expected this, huh? An animated movie about Ultraman by Netflix? Well, it turns out that not only will this movie come out, but it will actually be amazing. Before we start though, I want to establish my relationship with the Ultraman series so you can get a better viewpoint into what I was going to this film with, which is basically non-existent. I've never seen any of his movies or shows, haven't read any books or comics, so for me, this is a complete introduction to the character and franchise. Also, this review does have spoilers in it, so if you have any interest in watching this movie, or in kaiju movies in general, or animation, or just good movies, watch it, you won't regret it. And hey, could you like and subscribe? Thanks, it helps with the video and channel a lot. With that out of the way, this movie is absolutely incredible. Alright, so what is Ultraman Rising? Well, it stars Kenji Sato, a star baseball player who, after his mom went missing, returns to his homeland of Japan to fill the role of Ultraman and joins the Giants. In Japan, he finds the egg of a kaiju and has to balance raising the baby and his baseball career while also defending it from the Kaiju Defense Force who are hunting him and the baby. Alright, so I want to start off with my issues with the movie first, then move on to the positives, but don't worry, there aren't many. Easily the worst part of the movie is the villain. He's an incredibly boring character with an even more generic design. He has the blandest motivations that you've seen in every other movie. Oh, monsters kill my family. Now I become a heartless monster who's willing to commit suicide as well as kill countless other families just to kill two kaijus. They try to make him sympathetic with like some small moments, but they do absolutely nothing because from what we've seen of him, this guy is just an absolute prick. So yeah, the villain is pretty bad. That's easily my biggest issue with the movie, but I do have some other problems. Like, it's a pretty big missed opportunity that we didn't get to see the relationship Kenji has with his team. One of the first characters you meet is his coach, and all that development happens completely off screen, as well as the development he gets with his teammates. I get why I didn't include it, it's not the focus or the point of the film, plus it's already 2 hours long, so adding an entire baseball subplot would add a lot to the runtime of the film. But because how underdeveloped his relationship with his team is, it leaves that entire part of the film feeling pretty shallow and hollow, because we know nothing about these guys. Some other problems I have is how the humans look. Most look fine, but Kenji and the villain especially just have these like weird proportions and build. Kenji looks like really skinny but with a bunch of muscle added on, as well as how angular he is, just makes him look like a bit off, which also applies to the villain. Those are my only like real actual issues with it, and even the last one is kind of eh. Now we're just onto the nitpicky complaints. First, the dad's voice actor. I don't have a problem with his performance, he does a good job, but he just doesn't sound old enough, which takes you out of any scene between him and Kenji, because it doesn't sound like an old father and his son, but more like friends who have gone distant. In addition, this is probably the most subjective part of the film, but I don't find it funny at all. The most I got was one little air blow with this joke.
Great. Super helpful. Yeah, I think I'd be better off asking Siri. Great. Yeah, why is she changing colors?
Maybe you should ask Siri.
I like how they set up and paid off the Siri thing instead of just saying Siri and that's the funny. The entire movie relied a lot on reference humor with nothing added to it. They just say the thing and you're supposed to laugh at the thing because you recognize it. Then halfway through the movie, they just stopped trying to make any jokes, so it was all pointless. Also, I would have loved if they established the Ultraman mythos a bit more. I know it's probably more of a me thing, but they don't establish who Ultraman is, why, for how long it's been going, how it started, how the power works, how the power is passed on. Like I said, that's probably a me thing why I don't know the lore. But this movie is going to be an introduction to Ultraman for a lot of people, so I would have loved if they just spent a bit more time establishing Ultraman. On the same topic, Ultraman's color timer was underutilized. Kenji's Ultraman form being tied to him being in control of his emotions is actually a really interesting and cool concept, and it's used well in some moments, but it feels like the writers just pick and choose whenever they want it to start flashing. The inconsistency is the annoying part. Like, this random fight with Naronga stretches him out, but a fight against the KDF and Giganton doesn't. In addition, sometimes I felt the audio mixing was a bit off, but it was very rare and far between. Also, how did the dad not immediately die when he was attacked? He was shot by a ton of missiles, and if those didn't kill him, being knocked around a bunch should have. And then, he lives another attack from the KDF, so he could come in at the end, Deus Ex Machina style, to help save the day. Like, he has a ton of plot armor, that kinda takes you out of the movie whenever he's in it. Lastly, this one feels like a bit of a CinemaSins criticism, but how did they not notice Tracker? Like, it's pretty big, looks out of place with the egg, and is blinking. It kinda matters too, because if they didn't notice Tracker, the entire third act wouldn't have happened, and Mina would still be alive. But all these criticisms are minor compared to the overwhelming quality of the film. So yeah, I had a bit to say about the negatives, but it's because I do love this movie. I really liked it, and I criticize it for the sequel that, considering the movie's success, we're gonna get is even better. Now, onto the positives, and easily the best part of this movie is the animation. To put it bluntly, the movie looks amazing. It's just so hypnotizing and mesmerizing. I'm not like an animation major or anything, so I only have a surface level appreciation of the animation, but if you are, you probably have like an orgasm watching the movie. The animation style is very reminiscent of the Spiders movies or Arcane, who also look amazing. Like in this movie, man, the rain looks so beautiful, the fights are elegant and flashy, the colors pop, characters move with so much expressiveness and personality. The monsters all move with weight and gravitas. The animation also doesn't only apply to flashy and fast action sequences, the animation also helps the more intimate and emotional moments be more impactful due to how subtle these characters' movements and facial expressions can be. For example, in some scenes, you can see Kenji bouncing his leg, showing how nervous he is, which is a nice little detail. All in all, the animation in this movie is some of the best I've ever seen. It's not just the animation that looks amazing, but also the cinematography. This movie has incredible and stunning shots that give big King of the Monsters vibes. They just perfectly frame the characters, action, and monsters, all to get this incredibly enthralling yet beautiful shot or shots. But the animation and cinematography wouldn't hit nearly half as hard if not for the second best part of this movie, the characters. The characters in the movie are all amazing. Of course, there's the protagonist Kenji, who has a very satisfying and developed arc. Kenji starts out as an arrogant and closed-off man, who relies purely on himself. However, as life throws more and more at him, he learns he has to open up and find help. He basically is a child that he has to learn to take care of and realizes that when he embraces others, that is when he will find success. Not only is his arc very well written, he's also a fully developed 3D character. Kenji feels like a real person with emotions, and we get to see a lot of those. You see him cry, which helps you connect to the guy a lot more because you can literally see the pain he's in. I love how they make you feel for the guy. He goes through so much stuff that he makes him incredibly likable and rootable as a protagonist. This is why your main character needs conflict. Star Wars. Anyways, easily the second most important character of the movie is Emmy, the baby Giganton. At first, I thought she was going to be an annoying baby character just to sell toys, and she kinda was at the beginning, but she quickly grew out of it. She's just so expressive and full of life, and yeah, I didn't find any of her comedic moments funny. She was still a very charming and likable kaiju. Her relationship with Kenji is also perfect, and you get to see it grow, and the two bond incredibly deeply with one another. Aside from Kenji and Emmy, who are basically perfectly written, we have some other characters, like his dad. Like I mentioned at the start, I do have some nitpicks about his voice actor, but aside from that, he's great. I love the relationship he has with Kenji. He wants to get closer to him, but takes his time and gives Kenji space. When they do get closer, he shows the deep knowledge and care he has. I also like the moment when he rushes the villain after he hit Kenji and yells,
Don't you ever touch my son!
It was a nice little moment to show how much he really cares for Kenji. There's also Mina, the AI helper for Kenji. She was a pretty basic AI helper character, but for what she was, I loved her role in the movie, her personality, and tons of little moments in the film. I didn't cry or anything when she died, but it was, kinda sad. Other notable characters include the villain, and Ami, a single mom who interviews Kenji several times throughout the film. I like how she's more of an ideological opposer of Kenji, whilst also helping him out when he needs it. She's also a strong, independent character without it being shoved down your throat. She doesn't have to verbally say it or beat the crap out of Kenji to establish it. We can tell alone from what she does and says, pushing back Kenji's crap, while also being able to be sympathetic and kind towards him. Again, take note, Star Wars. Whilst we're talking about the characters, I love their designs. Well, the kaiju. The humans are alright. Narongo's design is cool, although a bit basic, but Giganton looks incredible. She's able to be a menace, but also show a bit of a softer side. Her mecha design also looks purely awesome. It kinda reminds me of Mecha Riddler, and so does the final boss mecha, who is also a giant airship. Like, come on, how do you not find that cool? Ami is another very well designed kaiju, but more emphasis placed on her cuter features. Back to the writing, and aspect which is great is the dialogue. It never distracts you in the film or takes you out of it. Star Wars, you listening? Which is the telltale sign of good dialogue. It doesn't feel stilted or unnatural, and yes, some moments are a bit cringy or not funny. On the whole, it's very well written, impactful, and immersive. One topic I've heard people have some problems with is the pacing. I hear some people say it feels too long or that it slows down in some bits, which I completely disagree with. I think the movie knows when to slow down and has some character-based moments, also balancing it with the action. Yeah, there are some brief sessions with no Ultraman, because of how good the characters are, you remain fully engaged because you don't really care. You just want to see how Kenji and the other characters handle all this, even if we don't get to see Ultraman fighting. Also, the montages don't slow down the movie. Yeah, I would have loved to explore what happened in them more, but for what they are, I either found them really cool or incredibly wholesome and effective at developing the story. Also, so many moments that they didn't need, but the writer just included to flex. Like for example, in Kenji's first fight, he throws his rotator cuff, which comes back in the baseball game he has later on, and which switches batting arms to hit a home run. Little moments like that, which are completely necessary, the writer still included so they can slowly develop and establish their characters. On topic of that baseball scene, That whole like 2-minute sequence where he first goes to the bat and then gets the hit was absolutely perfection. The music, the camera angles, the animation, the lighting, the colors, they all combine into one sequence to fully enthrall you into this moment. Another part of the movie I liked was the soundtrack. There are some particular moments, like the aforementioned baseball scene, the montage, the fights, where the soundtrack just goes all out and completely puts you in the moment. But it's not just those moments too. The whole soundtrack is incredible to listen to, and fits the movie incredibly well. The movie also knows how to balance its audience very well. It's not just a dumb babe movie so kids can watch the monsters fight. It also has a very deep message about parenthood, responsibility, and balance that the older audience will find incredibly resonating. Now let's get to the part of the movie that everyone probably started to watch it for, the fights. The fights are full of flashing and bright colors, giving an immense sense of life. The explosions look incredible, and just plain cool looking. Every beam attack is brilliantly animated, and the physical blows everyone deals have so much weight and impact behind them. Pair that with compelling moves, engaging combos, and touching moments in the fights. That gives action scenes which are some of the best for an anime movie ever. But even though the fights were so good, I kinda stopped caring about them because the writing in the movie is just so good that I just want to see how this baseball star raise Baby Dragon and perform in the league, which is a major achievement that I can't even say for most Godzilla movies. Also, Godzilla Dance Dragon's Movie of the Year. So that's why Ultraman Rising is peak. Thanks for watching, and what did you think of Ultraman Rising?